All right. Hi, Allison. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's so good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
All right. So, what would you like some support around today? How can I help?
Um, I I guess today I really want to talk about I know we've been talking about it in the past, but just a lot of I have like a lot of uncertainty in the next couple of years with I've just had more like bad job situation news about working in Germany. So, I'm just really trying to like navigate through that and I just don't know how the next couple of years are going to play out, and it's just a constant like stressor in my life, something I'm like always anxious about and trying to plan, and I think I'd like to talk about that today.
Yeah. So, tell me more about the uncertainty because I know it's been a while since you and I have. You don't have to go into all the backstory, of course, if you don't want, but what's that uncertainty looking like now? How's that coming up for you?
So not only can I not do like a permanent job over in Germany now, it's to the point where these like 3-month contracts that I was able to do, it's looking like I won't be able to do one of those this year. So, working right now ends probably in April, and then I don't really know the next time I'm going to work. I don't know if I'm going to have to like come back to the States and work more. But obviously it's just like really hard on Perry and I doing distance. So, um, yeah, so I just don't have a plan for the next year or so, since they told me that they can't even take me for a contract. So, um, yeah.
And is your partner, when is he moving back to Germany?
He goes back March 10th, and then he will be back there at least for 2 years.
Okay. So it's going to be, hunkered down in Germany full time for a 2 year
Yes.
stint
Yep.
in March. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the goal for you to be, I know you're saying there's uncertainty around, you can't even get these temporary contract positions anymore. So therefore you don't know whether you're going to have to come back to the
Yep.
States during that. But if it was something that was available to stay, do the same thing as him, in other words, from March onward, staying in Germany together, would that
That's
be
what,
your goal?
yes, that's what we want. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And when you think about this, what really stood out to me was you saying, I have no plan
Yeah.
over the next year. And when you think about this, like I have no plan, what even comes up in your body as I'm saying that?
I mean, like a lot of anxiety. Do you mean like physical sensations
Yeah.
too? Um, a heavy weight is on my shoulders. Mm, heavy weight, and I just anxiousness, like shakiness,
Mm-hmm.
um, hopelessness, but I guess that's more like a feeling. But I'd say it's really just like that. I just feel like there's always this like giant weight sitting on me. Like I can never like feel like it's just me always thinking about what's next, like what are we gonna do in the future, just because this situation, and it's like it's aggravating too. Like I feel angry at the situation, because I feel like not many people have to deal with this, and I know other people have their own problems and difficulties in their relationship, but it's just like I get angry that we can't just like have a normal relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to stay with that weight for a second that you said is on your shoulders. Does it have a size, a shape, a texture?
Yeah, I mean it's huge and it's dark. I'd say like a really very big. I'd say like a dark gray color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if that, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like a dull texture, I guess.
Doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And if it had a voice to speak, this huge, dark, dull, gray weight that just sits on your shoulders about this situation, what might it say?
You know, you're not gonna figure this out. Like you're just gonna have to be miserable for the next couple of years. Um, there's not a good answer to this. It's either you're going to have to pick which, you're going to have to choose. Like, do you want to be with the person you love, or do you want to, enjoy working and, following your career path? Yeah, I guess it's telling me that I need to choose, or, but both ways, I'm just going to be pretty miserable.
So you have to choose. And it sounds like there's also the caveat in there of within the choice, both of them are losing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what does that bring up as you even voice that?
Just a lot of like sadness.
Yeah.
And I guess, and also anger that about this situation, and that we even have to deal with this in the first place, because it wasn't our choice to go to Germany. It was the military stop making us go there.
Yeah.
And the fact that they can't support their spouses with jobs makes me angry. Yeah.
And I'm feeling a pull, and you tell me if this feels okay place for you to go, Allison. If it doesn't, you of course let me know. But I'm almost feeling a pull to allow you to encourage you perhaps to voice some of this anger.
Yeah.
Can you articulate, well, first of all, what does that sense, what sensations let you know that you're angry?
I get shaky. I feel like I cry, like I literally start crying. Shaky, I get hot. Like I feel like I need to like take my sweatshirt off. I just feel
Yeah.
like choked, like trapped.
Do you feel any of those things right now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, as we're voicing it.
Yeah.
And so all of these things are really letting you know, like, hey, I'm angry about this. And sometimes I think it can be so helpful to really give voice to our anger of why we're angry. But and I would check in with you. Do you feel like you've done that? Does it feel like you are kind of tamping down your anger and trying to tell yourself that you shouldn't be angry? Or what has really been your reaction to this anger?
I feel like I try and justify it. I say like, oh, other people go through worse. You shouldn't be upset about this. Like, you still get to live in Europe. Like, how cool. Like, it is really cool. And that, I chose this lifestyle because I chose to be with someone who's in the military. And then so I feel like it's like, I feel like I can't complain about it to people, because I feel like that's kind of the response. It's like, well, you chose this lifestyle, or you get to be in Europe. Like, I don't feel bad for you, kind of thing.
So it sounds like you don't feel that you have a leg to stand on to be angry. It
Yeah.
sounds like you feel like you aren't able to be angry.
Yeah, that, and I feel like who I want to like be angry at, like honestly, like the military, I like, who am I supposed to vent to about that? Like, I don't know. It's like I want to like talk to someone and be like, this has to change. Like, you have to like support people better. But yes.
What if, Allison, you just get to be angry? That there doesn't need to be any justification, that there doesn't need to be any um like painting a picture where you are forcing gratitude, that you can be grateful that yes, you get to live in Europe, and yes, you have a wonderful supportive partner, and all of these things can coexist with the fact that you're still angry.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to negate, like, the gratitude and the good things about this situation doesn't mean that anger can't coexist and be there. Like, what if you just get to be angry?
Yeah. I feel like I never really like let myself. I try and just like remind myself of the things to be grateful for, and don't really like, yeah, feel the anger, I guess.
Yeah. And I think feeling the gratitude is fine. And I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to talk you out of that by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm trying to invite more of the wholeness of this. that the anger is also here. And what if we didn't bypass it? What if we didn't have to make it go away? What if it got to be part of your valid experience of where you are right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Then I just like worry that what if I don't want to go through my days like angry, and I don't want to take it out on other people. Cause when I think about it, like I feel like it just, I do. Like I feel like I am just in a worse mood, like, yeah.
Yeah. And what I want to say to that is I honor that fear. And I want to see how it lands with you when I say that oftentimes when we try to avoid an emotion, when we try to suppress an emotion, those are the very times when an emotion will pop up sideways in a way that we weren't expecting.
Hmm.
It will, like, we try to sweep it under the rug and get rid of it,
Yeah.
but that it's going to come up somehow, some other way.
Yeah.
And really, it sounds to me like for right now, it's sort of manifesting in this, maybe not outwardly, but this heavy weight within yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. Like always. And I feel like yeah, I tell Perry about that, and I just like can't get rid of it. Like it's just always there.
Yeah. And so, my curiosity, and I know this may not be where you were like expecting this session to go, to
Yeah.
spend so much time with this anger, instead of like quote unquote jumping to some solution, but really learning to be with the wholeness of your experience here, the allowing the anger at the same time as you can be grateful for some of these experiences. I'm just curious, what do you feel like that might look like as you're going through this right now?
Hmm. I don't even know. Like I feel like I don't know, maybe like writing all my feelings down and just like acknowledging them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, just like at least getting it out, because I feel like I know I don't really get it all of it out, like why I'm angry, just all those feelings.
Yeah. Would
Yeah.
it be helpful to share some of them now with me, even as a means to, I not that
Yeah.
journaling is wonderful, but sometimes I feel like if we can have you voice it, there's a power to voicing it as well, and really seeing what comes up as far as bodily sensations, even with voicing it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that would help. Just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So tell me, I want to hear what you're angry about, Allison.
I'm angry that like the only place I can't work, in the world really, they have to send us to, like we could have been stationed anywhere in the United States and I could have gotten a job. Maybe not my dream job, but still a job. And they have to send us to a place where it's literally impossible for me. It makes me angry that they can't open up more positions for spouses to work and at least try and support them. I feel like the military is honestly shaped to have the wife like sit at home and be a stay-at-home mom, and that makes me angry. Because I'm not like that. Like I want to work. I have my own life too. Um, they have such a shortage over there. Like there's people that can't get appointments, and such a lack of healthcare, and I don't understand why they're not opening positions for healthcare. Again, there's just so many like qualified spouses over there that could work, and we could probably build like a whole hospital, but they just don't want to do anything about it.
Yeah.
That makes me really mad. Yeah. Um, I just feel like there's a clear answer and no one will listen or do anything about it, and it makes me really mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could do something about it, but I'm constantly trying. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Only place I can't work is the place you're sending me.
Yes.
I don't want to just be a stay-at-home mom, and I feel like that's the only thing that you
That's
guys
what
are
they're
setting me up
tracking you
for.
into. And
That's
it's,
what you're
again, there's
funneling me
nothing,
towards.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom at all. Like nothing wrong.
Yeah,
But I feel like that is the only option they give you. And it's just not okay with me, especially not
right.
in today's world where like women really like to go after their career and stuff.
Yeah. There's nothing at all wrong with it. It's just not what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no open positions in healthcare for spouses. No one will listen. And there's nothing you can do. You feel trapped. And
And no
you're,
one else will do anything about it either.
yeah. And you're angry about all of these things. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to reflect and mirror back to you that I, not that you need this, but that all of that anger is so valid. And it doesn't need to be poo pooed by gratefulness. You can still be grateful. And these are still really valid reasons to be angry.
Yeah.
What comes up as you're voicing this, and even as I'm validating that these are super valid reasons for anger?
I mean, it feels good to have someone validate that instead of, saying like, oh, like if I didn't have to work, I'd be so lucky, like it feels good just to know I'm not being like a selfish brat about the whole situation.
Yeah.
And like, cause in the end, again, I did choose this lifestyle, but I didn't choose to go to Germany. Like, I mean, I guess I did, but like, we didn't even like rank it on his, on the marketplace. So it's like,
Yeah.
they really did just like send us over there, and it's, yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely feels good to like get it off my chest and have someone validate that. Again, yeah, I'm not just like being a mean person.
No. Because you know what I'm hearing, Allison, is that you're really being forced into a situation that feels like an impossible choice for you because of a lack of options,
Mm-hmm.
where you're having to choose between your partner and your career, both of which are very important to you.
Yeah.
And it's really tough when you see potential solutions
Yes.
and yet no one is listening.
Exactly.
There are no
Yes.
options.
Yes. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
It's because it's not even that like there's literally no way. There are solutions, just no one wants to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
And so I wonder how it lands with you for me to even verbalize. I want to verbalize some subtext here and see how it lands with you of like, this is really freaking unfair.
Yeah. Very.
Yeah. And how does that land even when I say that of like, this is really freaking unfair?
I mean, it feels right. Like I completely agree with you. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like people are always just like, well, life's unfair, So yeah.
And yet within that, Allison, what I want to say is there is an invalidating of your experience within that statement.
Yeah.
Life is unfair, and that doesn't negate that this situation specifically is unfair and difficult for you.
Mm-hmm.
And can we spend some time validating and allowing yourself to feel that instead of needing to gloss over it with, well, life is unfair?
Yeah.
Because I'm concerned about you and your feelings in this moment. And if I make this blanket statement of, well, life is unfair, then I'm negating this very real unfairness that's happening to you right now.
Yeah.
How does it feel to just take a moment to really validate that?
I mean, yeah, it feels good because I don't know. Yeah. Just to like feel like heard
Mm-hmm.
and understood too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like, yeah, that's just kind of what I want is just to feel heard and understood.
Yeah. And if this part of you, because here's the thing, Allison, remember, like going back to the beginning, there's part of you that's grateful for this
Yes,
experience, and
there
that's
is.
real. And there's part of you that's angry and says that this is unfair. And both of those parts exist and they are both valid.
Yeah.
And it's like if we are allowing both of those parts to hold space, both of those parts to be valid, how might you approach what, I guess, what decisions or how might you handle this situation as it comes up? The uncertainty, I mean.
I guess just like be accepting that the situation is unfair and that there really isn't anything I can do about it. Like I have tried everything and there's just nothing. Um, you know, I feel like I'm coming to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to come back to the States and work for a few months and then go back over there and kind of like going back to when we were talking about like just like seasons of life and just really leaning into those seasons. But I guess, like, yeah, so just I don't, yeah, being at peace with the fact it's unfair. And I just don't want to like feel so angry about it all the time anymore. Yeah.
I'd be really curious what happens with the sensations of anger when you start giving it space
Mm-hmm.
rather than the suppression and the denial.
Right.
I'd be really curious about that. And I just offer an invitation to you if it feels like an okay place to go.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I hear what I'm hearing you say is coming to a place of radical acceptance of this situation. And I'm going to sort of paint two different pictures.
Okay.
So one picture is the first picture I'm going to paint is like denial and suppression of the anger, of the unfairness, and just trying to focus on the gratitude and kind of making the best of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the picture I'm going to paint first. So that might look something like your partner goes back to Germany in March, you go back over there as well. You can't find a job there, and you're consistently telling yourself, well, I should be grateful. I get to live in Europe. I get to have all these wonderful experiences. Life is unfair for everybody, et cetera, et cetera. You're not giving any space and any time to those parts of you that are angry or sad or frustrated or um, think that it's unfair that your career has to take a back burner when really there are other solutions that people aren't listening to, right? You're not giving
Mm-hmm.
any of that any space. That's the first thing. The second way of handling it would be what I heard you mention, which is radical acceptance. And what that might look something like, same situation, you both go back over there in March. The circumstances, external circumstances are the same, but your internal circumstances are when this feeling of anger comes about, when this feeling of unfairness, when this feeling of like there are solutions and no one is listening to me and I'm mad about that comes up, that you listen to those parts of you, that you validate those parts of you, that you're able to tell yourself, you know what, like it makes so much sense that I'm angry. It makes so much sense that I feel this way. This is really freaking unfair.
Yeah.
And simultaneously, you enjoy being in Europe while you're there. You enjoy your time with your partner. And when those sensations of anger arise, you give attention to them and you validate them. And you accept all of that as part of the wholeness of your experience.
Instead of just trying to make it into one great thing.
Yeah. I'm curious about when I paint the picture of both of those things
Mm-hmm.
side by side like that, how the difference feels to you or what that might potentially bring up.
The the acceptance one is a lot better and makes me feel like lighter, and like that it just feels like a better answer for my life. Like I'd be happier living my life that way.
Mhm.
And the other one feels just like darker, and like I'm not giving myself the self-care that I should.
Mhm. And almost when you say that, I'm curious if that feels almost a little bit counterintuitive, because in the first one, the goal was to get rid of the darkness.
Yes.
And yet by getting rid of the darkness, it almost like makes it grow, right?
Yep. Yep.
That heaviness that you were feeling gets even heavier
Mm-hmm.
because there's a denial of it.
Yeah. It does. It definitely does. Whereas the other one, yeah, it's there, but you can deal with it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't consume you, I guess.
Yeah. By
Yeah.
giving it space.
Mm-hmm.
And just to give you some ideas of like how to work with that part of you that is angry, I think your idea of writing it all out can be a wonderful practice.
Okay.
Just writing out your anger, getting it out. But I think that we've worked on this before in the past, Allison, but really thinking of that part of you as sitting across from you to tea.
Mm-hmm.
Have we done that before?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I'll sort of
I'll have to-
lead you through this a little bit as a practice.
Okay. Sorry, I have to
So
plug my computer in.
that's okay. I'll wait for you to get there.
Okay. All right. It's right here. Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
So, and if you feel comfortable with this, you can sort of close your eyes or soften your gaze, and I'll sort of lead you through this practice. And this can be
Okay.
part of the practice if you choose moving forward with this. But just sort of imagining yourself sitting across from the table with this angry, frustrated part of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
sitting across the table, just sitting down to tea with it.
Okay.
And really, just as an open invitation, being like, tell me what you're angry about. I want to hear. And not that you have to verbalize that to me right now, because I know we already did that,
Right.
but really just listening and taking a moment to listen to what comes up to that part of you that is angry. And whatever comes up, then really being able to, again, envision in your mind's eye, telling that part of you back. That makes so much sense. I completely understand why you're angry. I would be angry too.
Invalidating it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be angry too. Just taking the time to validate that part of you. Because I hear so many external voices and your own voice that has been invalidating that part. Like, well,
Yeah.
the world's unfair.
Yeah. And just people being
Great.
like, well, you get to live in Europe. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think validating that part and taking the time to do that when that comes up as a means to giving it space and no longer needing to deny, suppress. Like you said, when we painted the two pictures, that feels a lot lighter to give that part some space.
Yeah. I think that would be really helpful. And I definitely feel like, yeah, just like journaling and, having those conversations, I guess, with myself would keep it from just being like overall just so consuming all the time. Whereas, like, even when I'm, just like out doing errands, I'm thinking about it and it's just making me angry.
Yeah.
If I just actually acknowledge it.
Yes. I can't wait to hear how this practice goes for you. I think it has the potential to be really fruitful.
I think so too. Yeah, we haven't actually done that one before, so I could definitely start doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Does this feel like an okay place to land?
Sure does. I think it's been super helpful.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mhm.